would I define adventure education? I would first think it has to do with education. It's a context in which there's something that is going to be taught to someone. And when talking about adventure education, adventure should play an important role in that learning experience. So either you learn from the adventure or you use the adventure as a way to learn something. That's what I would say. My first direct contact with adventure education was when I came to Norway for the first time. At that time I had a subject in the university that had to do with what we call here friluftsliv, which roughly translates as outdoor life or outdoor education. And perhaps important to say also is that when talking about adventure education, oftentimes has something to do with being outdoors. And in that situation was a very clear educational context when we were like doing many things outdoors. Things from hiking, farming in old traditional farms in the mountains. We were sailing with traditional wooden boats, with traditional sails, and doing many of these things that I really love doing, and also using those opportunities to talk about things like, for example, sustainability, or about psychology and well-being, things like the meaning of life, but also very practical things as, for example, how to make a fire, or how to get clothed properly, how to pack a backpack, and those more specific learning contents. So altogether we were on this experience for about 25 days. It was a great way to come to the country and also get to know a bit better the Norwegian culture through being outdoors. So as you can imagine, there were many learnings, and it made so big impact on my life, those learnings, that actually a year later I decided to move to Norway and even learn Norwegian and continue my life over here, focusing on things like nature contact and well-being and education, like outdoor education. It's difficult to generalize because it's oftentimes very personal what the participant is gonna get out of the experience. But more often than not, I think that people who are entering that experience, they are innerly motivated. They typically are doing something that they have at least a little bit of experience from before and that they like. So something that I tend to notice is that most people start shining when they are doing such a thing. You know, it tends to be fun. It tends to be in many ways very play-based. There are aspects of like discovery, aspects of excitement that tend to be quite visible in most people, I would say. So it tends to be quite social as well, so that tends to show up often. But of course, you know, I have to repeat what I said. Adventure education is really wide, and there are many different situations of adventure education that we could talk about, and many different people. So it's very difficult to generalize. But most people to me seem quite happy when I've done that, even though sometimes it can be challenging. Yeah, I think that when working with migrants, an aspect that is convenient to keep in mind at all times, perhaps, is that you might be making some assumptions about nature or how to be in nature that does not need to be global. And I can go back to this example of this first experience of mine when I came to Norway, and we were doing plenty of outdoor activities that were rooted in Norwegian tradition. At the time, some of my fellow mates, they were Norwegians, and for them, many of the things that we were doing, they were probably taken for granted, as they probably grew up, at least to some degree, being exposed to those experiences. But we were also an international group coming from many places throughout Europe, and many things were absolutely not, of course, we had to learn them, and sometimes not only you have to learn them, but maybe even learn to appreciate them, because this is very cultural. So I think that working with people from other cultures should force you in a way to have an open mind, even to reconsider the things that you take most for granted, and be open to have a dialogue with people to see how they perceive them, and how perhaps they would naturally engage with some situations, how they would organize themselves, what do they think that it's interesting in that situation, and allow them also the capacity to be able to modify the situation as well. So I think that this is one of the aspects, and also, like, in the planning of these activities, you may consider that some people know already what to do. So this is also something that you should take into consideration, that many people maybe lack the skills or lack the knowledge, or the equipment perhaps. So these are essential points that need to be considered in advance, and also to embrace them, to learn from them, because I think it's also some of the most fun parts, when you rediscover something that you thought you knew, just because you bring a new set of eyes. So. Certainly. Even some of the things that I mentioned already can act as barriers. Say, for example, that you lack a skill that is very common in Norway, for example. Say, for example, how to get clothed when it's cold and wet outside. For most people around here, it's second nature. You know how to do it. No one needs to tell you how to do it, what to look for. But for some people, this can be a barrier, because they simply either don't know how to do it, or they may lack the equipment. So there could be many sorts of barriers in the situation, and then a good adventure educator should be aware about this, and try to facilitate and make it as easy as possible to reduce these barriers. Could be language, could be even words, terms that are specific to some culture, and perhaps they don't even exist in other cultures. Friluftsliv could be, on a way, such an example. It's a word that we prefer not to translate to other languages, and it has to do with outdoor education, or like being outdoors, having contact with nature. So certainly. I think that every situation is gonna bring specific challenges, but if I think in general terms, I think that one of the challenges can be time, for example, because people's time is quite valuable. You don't have endless of time, and I also think that if you really want to ensure that those people who come to your program get to experience or to learn whatever you want them to learn, this can be very personal. So you need to know those people very well. You need to get to know them well enough so that you can actually be a good facilitator. And that takes time. And sometimes, if you compress all these activities in a very short format, that can be challenging, as you cannot treat every person the same, right? So that can be a challenge. Another challenge that I can imagine of is even what could be the preconceptions of the people when joining the activity. As these preconceptions, sometimes maybe you need to break them down, actually, you know. Maybe you need to perhaps in some situations even fight against them, you know, for what is adventure, you know. Like, it could be that people are thinking of something extremely risky, and at the same time, you know, as a person in charge of the learning, yes, but also the safety of those people, you may actually have to tone down some aspects. So maybe, you know, like, their associations with adventure is very different from whatever you could provide or what you could, you know, consider, or what aspect of the adventure is what is the most interesting, right, for learning. So, you know, like, that could be also challenges in my views. I think that an outdoor educator should be very well reflected about exactly what is it that you want to achieve with the situation. So a good format should be the one that makes it the most likely that that goal is achieved. And there are many possible goals, so I don't think that there's an easy answer to that question. But when that has been said, personally, I think that a moment that for me would be very important to bring to the forefront is participants' connection to the nature that they are experiencing if this adventure happens outdoor, so that nature is not just the backdrop for the activity, but that you also stimulate to some degree a connection with the nature. And I think so because not only we have plenty of evidence that developing this connection to nature is positive for our well-being and happiness, but also it might be the case that even it stimulates people to think in a more environmentally friendly way, and perhaps even promote people to engage in more pro-environmental ways. So then that way I think that you have a brilliant opportunity to, you know, work on multiple things at once, and this is something that you know, in the light of the ecological crisis we're in now, it seems to be quite important, so that we're not just bringing people to nature to kind of like reap or exploit, you know, the nature to have an adventure, but also that adventure includes nature as a main player, and that yeah, something beautiful comes out of it. That's my way of thinking, at least.